What if one of the most misunderstood labels in Islam is not a power grab, but a warning label? A lot of people hear Ahl al Sunnah wal-Jama'ah and assume it means follow the crowd, obey the herd, and stop thinking. And in modern America, where religion is often filtered through clips, instead of careful study, that sounds exactly like the kind of slogan people should reject. But that raises the real question. When Sunni Muslims say, the Sunnah and the community, are they pushing the Qur'an aside? Or are they trying to stop faith from being rebuilt? Around every loud personality with a microphone, that question matters in the United States more than many people realize. Muslims make up only about 1% of American adults. Most Americans still do not know a Muslim personally. And yet, among Muslim Americans, the most common branch identity is Sunni. So, if the public misunderstands this phrase, it misunderstands the vocabulary of the tradition, followed by the largest share of Muslims in America. Start with the part critics often miss. In Sunni thought, the Sunnah is not a rival book standing next to the Qur'an. The Qur'an itself tells believers to obey Allah and obey the Messenger, to refer disputes back to Allah and His Messenger, and says the Prophet was sent to explain what had been revealed to people. It also warns against following a path other than that of the believers. So, for Sunnis, Sunnah is not code for replacing revelation. It is their claim about how revelation is explained, embodied, and lived. Then comes the controversial word, Jama'ah. Does it mean crowd? Not in the shallow sense critics are attacking. In a major Sunni creed attributed to al-Tahawi, the community is treated as true and correct, while the vision is described as deviation. In a famous report in Sahih al-Bukhari, the Prophet tells believers to stick to the group of Muslims and their leader. And if no such group exists, to withdraw from the sects altogether. That is not mob mentality. It is almost the opposite. The point is not that the biggest crowd is automatically right. The point is that faith cannot survive endless fragmentation. History makes that even clearer. Scholars do not say Sunni orthodoxy fell from the sky fully formed the day after the Prophet died. Historians describe Sunni identity as something that crystallized over the first Islamic centuries. Muslim society faced political conflict, sectarian rivalry, and the need to define legitimate belief and practice. In other words, the label Ahl al Sunnah wal-Jama'ah was not empty branding. It emerged as a claim that Scripture had to be read through a stable, inherited framework, rather than through permanent schism. Now here is where the strongest criticism actually lands a real punch. The Hadith tradition is massive, and not every report attributed to the Prophet is sound. Muslims themselves knew that early on. That is exactly why Hadith criticism became such a serious discipline. Scholars examine chains of transmission, narrator reliability, corroboration, and the relationship of reports to broader practice. Scholar Jonathan Brown notes that Sunni Hadith criticism developed, in part, to reduce the subjectivity of private judgment. Other scholarship stresses that chain analysis became the primary, though not exclusive, site of evaluation. So classical Sunnism was not built on, except every narration. It was built on method. That leads to another misunderstanding, especially for Western audiences. People often think the 4 Sunni Madhhabs are 4 rival sects. They are not. Historian George Makdisi said plainly that a Sunni Madhhab could not be a sect, because the Sunni Madhhabs were all regarded as orthodox. Other scholarship likewise describes the Qur'an and the Sunnah as the main sources from which these schools worked. So the schools were less like competing religions and more like disciplined legal methods inside one religious civilization. So, what is the real argument? Inside the phrase Ahl al Sunnah wal-Jama'ah, it is this: no individual, however sincere, gets to detach the Qur'an from the Prophet's explanation. No one gets to detach the Prophet from the community that transmitted his legacy, and no one gets to detach religion from the accumulated discipline that separates evidence from ego. And yes, many Muslims around the world prefer to say they are just Muslim. That instinct is understandable. Labels can harden into tribalism, but if every generation starts from zero, interpretation does not become pure. It becomes more vulnerable to charisma, selective reading, and self-authorization. So, when critics ask, why not just say, people of the Qur'an? The Sunni answer is not that the Qur'an is missing. The Sunni answer is that the Qur'an itself points beyond isolated reading. It points toward the messenger, toward explanation, toward the believer's path, and toward unity over division. At its strongest meaning, Ahl al Sunnah wal-Jama'ah does not mean worship the majority. It means protect revelation from becoming a solo project. And in an age of religious influencers, instant certainty, and algorithm-driven tribes, that may be more relevant, not less, than ever. If every generation can reinvent faith from scratch, what exactly is left to preserve?